And I don't know if you've ever been to NHS hospital. I went once, and it's just brutal. I'm sure, as you know, like you're just there stuck waiting for 6 hours in the emergency room. No one's tending to you. No one's seeing you. So when you're the receptionist, you're getting a lot of abuse hurled your way because there's a lot of people who rightfully are very upset and are in a very stressed state. So she did that. She also used to work at Harrods. So just, minimum wage retail jobs. And yeah.
How was school for you? At least like the early years.
I think I had my first friend when I was maybe 9 or 10 years old. Like I was always just very shy to myself, even though, people see me online and this and that. I'm naturally very introverted. I can be loud and gregarious and outgoing if need be, but I just like being alone and to myself.
That's interesting because you would seem like the last person that I would have thought would go and pick up a camera and start talking to it and put in their life out.
It's because I had no one who I could talk to about that. Like I started reading a book a week when I was 14 years old. Now I was always super into reading. Even when I was young, 7, 8, I used to read a lot. But then I read like hardcore self-help business books from the age of 14. So,
why?
It's because I knew I was fucked. Like I knew from the age of 8 or 9 years old, I was fucked. And it was, I guess you just grow up so quickly. I remember even my mom used to have to always hide her bank statements because I would be 11 or 12 years old looking at her bank statements and running calculations. How much are we spending? What's our run rate? And my mom's always been super frugal. Even to this day, she's still super frugal. As I said, just being a youngest of 7, growing up in the Soviet era, she's always learned to be resourceful and frugal and this and that. But, I would be 11 or 12 years old and I would be looking at this stuff and I'd be running calculations, and it was just very clear to me, like, we are royally fucked. And when you know that, and when you're the only child, especially of a single mom who's out there working and trying to make ends meet, listen, it's not like we were homeless or anything like that, but it's still, you just don't want to see your mom in that place or in that state, especially as an only son, an only child. So yeah, I guess I just got sucked into the world of self-help and self-development. And the thing is, now if you're 14 and you do that, it's so crazy how quickly things change in the world. Because 10 years ago, that shit was whack. If you were 14 and you were into self-development, you were a weirdo. You were like an outcast. Whereas these days, if you're 14 and you're into self-development, you're praised. Like, people respect that. They respect you for it. So the reason I picked up a camera was because I had no one to talk to. And that's the thing. I guess that's what's very unique about my position, is you can see me going from, there's literally videos of me
it's literally ridiculous. I went and watched a few of them and it was like day in the life of a bodybuilder.
Yeah, I was super into like fitness back then. Obviously I never took it as far as you. Yeah, maybe if I had your training plans back then, I could have taken it a little bit more seriously. But yeah, I was 15 years old. It's crazy because I have 8 years of footage on YouTube. And I was uploading on YouTube for so long just for myself. Like, I had years and years of me just documenting everything from, okay, I'm reading this book this week. So I'm reading this book. This is what I'm doing in the gym. This is what I'm going through. Oh, I have this business idea. I'm starting this business. All the way to like me signing my first client. And then going through a long drought where I wasn't signing any clients. And then I signed my first big client. And then a week later, I was making five and a half grand a month. Within 2 months later, I was making 15 grand a month. Then I hired my first employee. And then 3 days later, I make a video of how my first employee left because he thought I was basically just such a shit leader. Because I was 17. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
It's so good though. Like, if there's one thing I regret, it's that I didn't start sooner. I started uploading. I think the first upload was in 2016, which is when I was 26. And already at that point, I'd been training for so many years. There was 2 competitions I didn't film any of that. Opened up a gym, didn't film any of that. There was like so much of my life which I didn't document, which I can only really go back and check some Facebook pictures and maybe early Instagram pictures. Like, I'm so annoyed I don't have that footage. So
but you can be annoyed, but also it's,
I think it was different back then.
It was just different. Like there was nothing cool about that back then.
Yeah.
You know, now it's like all of this stuff is glamorized. All this stuff is cool. Whereas back then it's like, I'm sure, you know, even in 2016, I was filming in the gym in 2015. I felt like ashamed. Like I felt genuine shame. Like I felt like I was doing something wrong. Or I would like put the tripod down on the street and like talk.